You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and this is my conversation with a fellow who goes by the name of Frost. He's in a little old band from Norway, black metal titans they are, Satyricon. The reason for the conversation is to promote Satyricon's upcoming tour of Australia. It's happening in September, and I'll read out some dates. On Tuesday the 4th, they're playing in Perth. Thursday the 6th, they are playing in Melbourne. Friday the 7th, they're playing in Sydney. Saturday the 8th, they're playing in Canberra. And Sunday the 9th, they're playing in Brisbane. I will definitely be at that show there. So let's have a listen to what Frost has to say. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello, mate. Andy Mackay-Smith calling for our chat. How are you going?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. It's the evening over here, and you'll laugh at this being Norwegian, but it must be about 15 degrees, which is actually 15 degrees Celsius, that is, which I don't know what that converts into Fahrenheit, but that's about as cold as it gets for us around here. I'm in Queensland, which is subtropical. So I thought I could at least relate that story to you before we kick off. Find some humour in it.
Yeah, that's so cool. I remember how it could be in Queensland.
Yes, you've played here a few times, haven't you?
Yeah. We had a couple of days off in Brisbane and at Turkish Paradise, I think it was, after our first tour in Australia, and it was like 43 degrees Celsius.
Yes, that's pretty typical.
It's possible you may ever experience in Norway, even if we have had heat records here over the later years.
Yes, that's right. And how have the phone calls with the Australian media going? Because I think I'm the last one for you over the 2 days that you've been fielding calls from us.
Excuse me, I don't hear you that well right now. Is there anything that could be done?
Oh, you can't.
Connection or anything? Because
It's hard to hear, is it? Yeah, you're right. What I'll do is I'll hang up and I'm calling from Skype, but I use the phone card, so I'll just call back in using Skype, and that should fix it.
Actually, I hear you pretty well just now, so perhaps you can just try it like this for a while and see if it works out. I think it will.
Okay, no worries. All right. Well, my question was, how are the phone calls going with the Australian media? Are we an interesting lot for you to talk to?
Of course you are. I mean, why shouldn't we be? We enjoy playing Australia. We look forward to going there. We like being there. And we have lots of fans there, and we have always been very warmly welcomed by the Australian fans. So I mean, going to Australia is something that we truly look forward to. And when I heard that it might not happen, I said that that's something I would actually really miss quite a lot. I really want to go to Australia with Deep Calleth Upon Deep. That's for sure. And I think that's what the other guys in the band feel as well.
Excellent. And look, I had a chat to Sata last year when Deep Calleth Upon Deep came out, and I'd only had a chance to listen to it for about 2 days before I had a chat to him. But I really liked it then. But I've got to tell you, I love it now. I actually think it's your best album, and I think it's we can use words like mature and well-founded, if you like, given that you've had so many releases. But I really love the direction that you're taking the band in now. So I know you're coming down here to Australia, and that's the reason for the conversation. But what are your thoughts on the album, Deep Calleth Upon Deep? Do you think it's your best album?
No doubt. I have been certain about that since before it was released, and I feel it no less now than what I did back then. Now that we have been performing the songs from the album live for 3/4 of a year, and those songs have really started to get under our skin now. And then I'll listen to the songs. I feel the same way. And these songs are our best. The album is our best, and there's a vitality and a profoundness in the expression, seriousness and danger to the material on that album that you will find no previous Satyricon album. But clearly, what makes the magic for me is that sense in which the album is alive. It really lives and breathes. I felt that way when the self-titled album was released, partly because of the dynamics that we were bringing into the band for the first time with that album. But just that part of it has gotten a totally new dimension with Deep Calleth Upon Deep. I mean, that is an album that is truly alive and musical in a broader sense. So it has opened up something for Satyricon, and which and something that really has served the band well. And I like the direction that we have taken, and I think that it has also made our future become even more exciting and interesting.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. It wasn't so much a surprise that you guys chose to go in this direction, but the biggest surprise to me was that, look, I'm a father of two young kids, and it's one of those albums that I can actually put on around them and they don't complain. Now, take that as a compliment, believe me, because I've got to, there's no point in me putting on headphones when I'm looking after two young kids and they're running around the house, or I'm driving somewhere. It's an album that has stayed with me through all sorts of applications. Now, I don't care about genres anymore. I've never been really about that. But to release an album, broadly speaking, underneath the banner of black metal, and to have it be as musical and listenable, that's a profound accomplishment as far as I'm concerned. So congratulations again.
Oh, thanks a lot for that. I mean, what it all comes down to is how the music moves the listener, and you can call it whatever you like, and you could put it in whatever category you like, or frame it any way you like. But what the music is actually doing to you is what matters. Where does it take you? Do you sense darkness, and do you sense energy? Do you feel the vibe? Do you sense those deeper nuances in the music that will nurture the soul? All of that is really what matters. And to me, Deep Calleth Upon Deep is as black metal as it can possibly be, but it doesn't matter if you call it that or something else.
Yeah.
If it hits you, if it really hits target, that's matters.
Yeah. Another compliment I'm going to give to you is because I did review the album for the Metal Obsession website, so I'm going to read something out to you. This is one of the paragraphs in it. Here I go. Harold Stad, that's yourself, of course, I'll just use your surname as it is, isn't just a great black metal drummer. He would be an excellent session musician for so many metal bands that lack the considered approach of his playing based on his performance on Deep Calleth Upon Deep. His performance on the album is a career highlight, and aspiring drummers should pay close attention to his percussive methodology. So I'm going to hand you another applauded, if you like, or another congratulations. I think I've never heard you sound better, and I've been following your drumming for a long time because I'm also a musician. I'm a bass guitarist. Now, I don't play heavy metal, but I do pick up when a musician's performance is truly outstanding. And I think the work that you've done with Sartre on this album here, I haven't heard your percussion sound the way it sounds on this album here. So did you take an entirely different approach to the drumming on the album, or tell me about what your methodology was or the approach that you used to drumming on the album?
I really have to tell it was quite an effort to make the solutions work. It was a lot of effort to find the correct expression for each different song, and often for each different theme of the song, really, and to get the right kind of musicality and vitality, and all of that, and everything is taken quite a bit further on this album, obviously have noted. I mean, the progressive stuff is more progressive, and the intense stuff is perhaps more intense than ever. The groovier stuff is heavier and groovier and more grinding. Making all of that work was incredibly difficult. And Julie and I spent countless hours making those drums work, and he was giving me lots of instructions and input. Sometimes he would more or less dictate what kind of drums that the music demanded, because as a composer he would know that either intuitively, or he would kind of feel his own compositions in his head before they were done, with the rhythmical arrangements and everything, and to make things work right according to his composing ideas. That is, really a pivotal point. And the way that he was, going through the hardship, making me find the right solutions, and that was probably one of the factors there. And also that I myself really invested everything that I had and then some in order to make this work and to really grow as a drummer with the project with another. So, I mean, we have had clear ideas. Satyricon has been a more brilliant composer here than he has ever been before, and I think that he was already the best in the genre even before this album. And we have been working tightly together for as long and as much as it took, and I think that's probably explaining why we have been taking the steps that we have. That goes for me and my drumming, and goes for everything on this album, I would say.
Have you ever been approached by other musicians to work as a session drummer for them? Is that something that happens a lot to you?
Well, that has happened, of course. But, I mean, there aren't that many drummers in this world, and especially not in a small country like Norway. And it's a pretty particular and small and a little incestuous world, this little black metal community in Norway. So I guess in order to make all of those sounds, some musicians have to do more than one job. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I have been doing some different projects over the years, but for the last 10, probably even 15 years, hardly anything. And the later years, I have not at all been interested in doing anything else, because I have more to do with my main band, Satyricon.
Yes.
And I managed to take properly care of, I feel. And I'm doing turn 49 whenever there's some spare time, so I'm not interested in doing anything else. That's more already.
Okay, fair enough. And I will ask a question now about the tour that you're bringing down. So are a lot of the cuts from Deep, Calleth Upon Deep, are they going to be in the set list when you come to Australia? Or because you tour here not that often, are you going to bring more of a greatest hits package, so to speak? You know what I mean? I know there's no hits per se, but fan favourites, yeah.
It's obviously going to be both. Whenever we do club shows, we play pretty long shows, and we try to cover our history now also. But of course it's going to be quite a lot about Deep, Calleth Upon Deep. Satyricon is not a band that is about our past or any past glory. We're about the here and now, and we're about current. We are proud of this album, and we think that it should put a strong mark on the tour that we're on, because it's the reason that we're touring also. It's not an excuse to go out and tour playing the old songs over again. We're definitely touring with this album, and we perform several of those new songs on every show, and some of them are in rotation, and others we basically perform every night. But we have rehearsed all of the songs from this Calleth Upon Deep, and all of them work really, really well in a live environment.
Yeah, I can imagine they do. Now, do you get, when you get fan interaction, do people keep bringing up the past? And I understand that people do that because, look, I got into the band on Nemesis Divina, and I still think it's a classic. I just prefer your new album. I think the direction that you're heading is at my age, I'm 40 years of age, it's a very listenable direction. That's the easiest way I can describe it. But do you get a lot of feedback from fans who just want you to play Dark Medieval Times, The Shadow Throne, and tracks from Nemesis Divina?
Well, not a lot really. You see what happens these days on our shows when we play some of our older songs, especially from the three first albums. Then we see that more than half the audience seem to not really understand what is going on, so they suddenly feel that they have to go buy a beer or have a toilet break or whatnot, and some of them seem downright a little baffled about what's going on. So we see that they don't really follow what's happening on stage. So that tells me that quite a lot of people haven't even heard the old album. But in a way, it's a good sign that we have people that are or that we have generations of time coming, and that you don't only have the old hardcore fans that only want to hear the old songs. I mean, we appreciate them as well, but for us, the newer stuff, of course, feels more relevant, and it's musically much more rewarding to perform. And I mean, even if the metal community in itself is pretty conservative in nature, luckily we don't see too much of it. And to the extent that it's there, it's just something that you have to expect. You always know it's going to be like that. And I guess it's been like that in other genres. That those people that have been growing up with certain albums and that follow the band through a long career, they will still be very, very attached to what they listen to first, and they want to relive that experience they had when they were younger and all that. And it's understandable. So we relate to that without, really getting too annoyed by it or too pissed off. We just know it's going to be like that. We think that, well, you can think whatever you like. We will perform some old songs as well, but don't ever expect them to be the band that is all about the old songs, because we could go to other bands and get that. We are not about that.
Yeah, gotcha. And did you find that there was a change in audience when you released Now Diabolical? Because I like that album a lot as well. I found that, I don't know how else I can describe it, but it had a really deep rock and roll groove on that one there, particularly through a track like King, and I love the video for that track, by the way. But did you notice a change in your audience after that album was released?
Yeah, I think that we started to notice some kind of difference even with Volcano. More rock people basically were showing up when we were playing live, and also some people that were seemingly just open-minded people, but being deeply into music in general, and felt that there was a particular energy and a kick-ass attitude when you hear some music that they liked a lot. And I think Now Diabolical brought even more of that, and that's fine, because I think there is some kind of kick-ass rock and roll attitude in quite a lot of what years and has been doing since then. That is something we like a lot ourselves, and that's also how the original Black is. Venom and Battery was really much more dirty rock and roll music than melodic heavy metal. And that's a style that we like a lot, and we think that that is a very good foundation for black metal music to have more of that kick-ass and dirty rock and roll element in it.
Okay. Well, mate, thank you very much for your time. I'll leave it there. I will definitely be in the audience when you tour, so I just want to offer you a congratulations again. I like to offer a congratulations on a career, definitely, but in my view, you are the preeminent, the very best black metal drummer that's ever been. So it's a pleasure to finally talk to you. And as I say, congratulations on your career and also on your outstanding performance as a drummer.
Okay, I have to say that I'm very happy to hear all of those kind words.
My pleasure.
I strongly look forward to come to Australia again in September. So see you then, and be all well in the meantime.
Absolutely, mate. No worries. Thank you very much for the chat.
Yeah, likewise.
No worries. Catch you. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that was my conversation with a fella called Frost. He's in a band from Norway. That band, Satyricon. Thank you so much for listening.